Hey guys. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Tony.
Thanks for coming. It's great to see so many of you guys again. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I think Jim told you guys 30, but I really appreciate you guys coming. And if you guys still have questions, I'll try and stay as long as I can for you guys. Who's first?
Tony, all I've heard all weekend is that you are a fan of wrestling. In listening to the fans and embracing nostalgia, you've tried something wholly different, and so far it's worked. What lies ahead for AEW?
A lot of really exciting things lie ahead for AEW. We've got Double or Nothing at the MGM Grand, and we've got a big week at a Double or Nothing. We've got a Dynamite coming up after that, and we've got exciting Dynamites ahead and some really cool announcements about what we've got going into the summer. But we've got a new world champion, and we've got our world tag team champions and our women's champion that retained, and a lot of great things ahead. I think we have a lot of really exciting wrestlers, and I think tonight showcased that we have built new stars in less than a year, and also some of the great stars of wrestling are here. So it was a great show for us, and I thought all the matches were great. I'm really happy with how all the wrestlers and all the staff did, and I think it's great for our future.
Being a fan, what does this whole experience mean to you?
It's the best thing in the world. I mean, it's changed my life. My lifestyle is very different now that every week. I mean, I've never, I've timed every match, let alone miss a show. So I'm always here every Wednesday or whatever show we've done on the cruise. So it's changed my lifestyle a lot, but I'm still traveling back and forth on the weekends to London when we don't have pay-per-views, and to Jacksonville. And just in the run up to this, I was in 7 cities in 14 days, including London, all the places AEW's been, Jacksonville, and the Indianapolis for the NFL Combine, and then some. So I love the work, so it's really fun. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
Tony, the creative of the company in the last month has really come together, and the word is that you've been a lot more heavily involved. Talk about why you decided to take the reins and what the reaction's been to others as you work on it.
I've always been I don't think my role has changed or anything. It's changed with philosophically. I think really not just the last 4 weeks. I felt like the whole 2020. I feel like it's been a really strong year for us. I thought the Jacksonville show to start the year, New Year's Day, was a really strong show for us to come out of the gate, out of the holidays. And I thought there were a few things happen. First of all, as a group, we all over the holidays got together, and I think we realized what we want to be is a wrestling company first and foremost that gives great wrestling, and we will focus from then on out on great shows. So as a group, I think it's been a great focus group effort. For me personally, I've always been the person that makes decisions. I've always given a lot of ideas and contributed a lot of things. But over the holidays, I had to reflect on my own role as the CEO and the head of every facet of the company, including the thing that drives us, which is the wrestling. I'm the person who's in charge of the wrestling. So at the end of the day, if anything was good or bad, it lied on me, and I had to tell myself, you know what, I am the ultimate filter, and as a couple different things. First of all, I have to be the best possible filter of ideas. You're getting so many ideas. You can't do everyone's ideas. You have to pick the best ones, no matter how forceful they are about the ideas they want to do. And at the end, it's me to pick the best mix of ideas, including my own, to put a show together. And I've really tried to do the best job I could of that. I was always trying my best, but I think I focused over the holidays, and we've come back. And so that's where I personally have tried to do a better job. I was always the final say on this stuff, but also then the other thing is trying to come up with ideas of your own and do a good job. And I've really tried to come up with cool stuff this year of my own. I think a lot of it's been good, but I think that's true of everybody else. Everybody's come up with a lot of good ideas since the holidays. And like I said, I thought we all kind of regrouped. So I appreciate you saying, I think the last 4 weeks have been about as good as it gets, but I also think all of 2020 has been pretty great. Maybe, and literally I can only think of maybe one segment I'd like to have back in the whole year, and that's really saying something, because that's where we're a full 2 months in.
What was that segment?
It was I didn't and it's those things again, that's what I'm talking about when you do things against your better judgment. You're I have a bad feeling, but I didn't think we needed all the hoo-ha around Rio and Statlander in Memphis, but it was at the beginning of the year, and it's literally I'm talking about at the beginning of the year. You're you need to do a better job of this stuff right out of the gate. It's you go on a diet and you day 2 you screw, but then from there on out, I feel everything we've done, I felt really good about every segment we've done going into it and coming out of it. I just think the guys and girls are all doing great, both the wrestlers and the coaches and the EVPs, and I think I'm doing the best I can do too. I feel really good about it. Thanks for asking, Mike.
You bring up upcoming Dynamite and how cool they're going to be. Let's talk about Blood and Guts.
Thanks,
what's the message that you're trying to send by owning the Blood and Guts term, and how will you be able to use the term War Games, if at all?
I can't use that. It's not, and I never have said that, and I'm not using that term. You will never use that term, and you'll never see me use that expression.
Sure.
And the expression we're using for this match is Blood and Guts, and it's a great phrase because it's a very serious match. It's it's everything to us. It's like a heart and soul struggle, but it's also like, and that's a kind of a metaphor or a microcosm of our company in that it's both like a very serious thing and we take the wrestling, it's wrestling centric, but also we're having fun with it.
So the name of the match is Blood and Guts?
Yeah, it's a blood and guts match.
A Blood and Guts match. Okay, cool.
And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be in Newark on the 25th, and I think it's going to be awesome. And it's going to be a great show. And we've got a great crowd coming for that. It's got a big sold-out show.
Where do you stand on Cody's neck tattoo?
It's great. It's I had a mixed bag, and he asked about it, and I told him going in, I support whichever way. It's a mixed choice. Like I think for some like mainstream roles, I was like, you know what, it's like gonna make it harder for you to be like Bruce Wayne, maybe.
Yeah.
But like on the other hand, like for like a wrestling brand, there's like so many things you can do. Cody's presentation and instincts are off the charts, and like the things he's done, like it's like from field before he got here, he was moving in an amazing direction, and before we'd even started AEW, I feel like as a wrestler, he'd gone so far. Over the last couple of years since he'd gone out on his own, and since here it's evolved so much. So like Cody's instincts are great. I told him I support whatever you want to do on it, and I told him, like I said, there's two sides. I think it's could be like pretty badass looking, quite frankly, for wrestling, but it could also be like a little bit of a hindrance if you want to do certain like mainstream roles. But I think he wants to be a badass wrestler, and I think that's pretty cool. So I think that's awesome.
Last year at this time during C2E2, the Young Bucks announced All Out for Labor Day weekend, and I know there's been talks about continuing All Out Labor Day weekend in Chicago. Is that still the plan moving forward over
Yeah,
here?
I'd like to really do that. I'd like to do All Out here. I think it's Chicago's been a great market for us. This has been a great market for us. It was cool to do a show in the city. We're less than like 3 miles from my parents. It's pretty cool, and then it's fun to do shows out in the suburbs too, out by like Hoffman Estates, Schaumburg at the Sears Center. That's awesome too, and I love it. I love being here. I'm from Illinois, and I like being here. But it's also just have a great wrestling market, and I think we're going to be doing more stuff around New York too, and that's a great wrestling market. But this is really one of the homes of AEW, and I want to continue doing events around Chicago. So I do think All Out will be around the Chicago area.
Do you plan on running this building moving forward or going back out to Sears?
I think we can do both. I love both buildings, and we've got this is a great first experience here. But I love the Sears Center too, so I'd like to run shows both. And it's different too. It's like it's being inside the city. Somebody from Illinois, there's a difference between being here and there. But they're both great markets, and I have friends who live like very close to both buildings, so it's great.
Tony.
Hey, what's up, Paige?
So, how do you feel that the company you and your friends started has produced to be one of the biggest wrestling companies in the world?
It's like the greatest thing ever. It's like a really, really great feeling. It's one of the best things I've ever been involved in. It's probably, it's about, for a lifestyle thing, it's the greatest thing I've ever had. And the shows we've done have been some of the most special memories we've had. I've had some really special memories too. I've had some great things happen to me and across my different jobs, like when Fulham got promoted, and now we're on a good run at Fulham again. We have a chance to do that again, and those are really special days. Like at Wembley Stadium, at 80,000 people in a trophy, that was great. Or the Jags had a great run in the playoffs, that was great. But these shows are very special to me in a different way, and they're very exciting. It makes me very happy. Thanks for asking. It's good to see you.
Tony, going back to the last topic of venues and different events, as you look forward to Double or Nothing and All Out, the first 5 of your first 6 pay-per-views will have been in either Las Vegas or Chicago. What would you say going forward to a lot of the other markets that would love to see a big pay-per-view event from AEW?
Well, I'm trying to get, first of all, with Dynamites, we're trying to get, we do great shows on Wednesdays, and also I would like to hit different markets for pay-per-views and do more different things. We've got these great traditions, and I try to find places and times where it's great for travel, whether it's like doing Double or Nothing and All Out in places that I think are very convenient for people to get to around the holidays, like to get to Vegas around Memorial Day and over the holiday, and stay for Dynamite, possibly for people too, have the holiday weekend this summer, either for academic or occupational or recreational reasons. And so I think Chicago and Vegas are great markets and very accessible. I'd like to hit more markets too, and you're going to see with Dynamite and other special events, we're going to be hitting other towns, and we're going to more places. So we're definitely going to diversify it, but at the same time, we're really loyal to the places that have been good to us, and MGM and Chicago in general have been great to us.
When AEW announced the extension with TNT, you guys said that there's going to be a second show. Are you at liberty to say yet whether that's going to be on TV or something, maybe streaming?
It's going to
like
be on
HBO
TV.
Max?
It's going to be on TV.
Cool.
I'm not ruling out also doing streaming things, but we're going to have another TV show.
Do you know what day?
I don't know. I can't say. I have some ideas, and we've talked a lot, but they're testing different ideas, and I think there's a couple different ways we can go, and it may not even be the last thing we do, but I do think we have a great chance to put on another great TV show, and I'm not sure exactly what day.
Speaking of days, Cody had kind of mentioned that he wouldn't mind being off Wednesdays in 5 years, which is ambitious and stuff, and he said maybe Mondays, and we've heard you say maybe not so much. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, I think, like, first of all, Cody's like what Cody brings to the company, both like on screen and off screen. He's like amazing. He's like both one of my like best friends and somebody I like collaborate really closely with on like daily basis, on like an hourly basis. So I love Cody. When he does those media calls with you, I really think it's very good, and we're gonna keep doing it.
It is very good.
It's great, and they really enjoy. And I was listening to that and enjoying it. Now there are times where 99% of the time I'm like smiling, laughing along. That was one of the times where I would like love to have jumped on the call. And that may be his view of, for 5 years as his personal view, and that might even be his view as the executive vice president, but as like the president and the CEO and the auditor, and as AEW, I'm telling you, like, we are on Wednesday nights. I want to be on Wednesday nights. It's the most important thing in the world to me, is this show, that we have it, and that we've got a chance to do it, through 2023. Like, we're on Wednesday nights for 4 years, and like, I have no intention of moving for a variety of reasons. I'm really happy with where we are, the relationship with TNT. It's a night that works great for them in their programming slot, and we've been a top performer for them, both like in the night and throughout the week as an original series, and we've really been very competitive with some of the top programming on cable, and we're doing great on Wednesdays, and I want to stay there. Also, I've said from the beginning, I never want to compete with Monday Night Football, which I consider the greatest franchise on cable. So like, I don't want to do it, and by that, like, my family and I own like 100% of the Jaguars. We are like equal with anybody else, as big a partner in the NFL as anyone, and we have this great cable series. It's the biggest franchise on cable. We don't want to compete with that either. But also, it doesn't make sense for AEW to want it. Does, so I don't want to be on Mondays at all.
Does that rule out Sundays for pay-per-view too? Since
I really like Saturdays for pay-per-view. People say it, and it's great for our international fans too, like watching in Europe, to not doing Sunday pay. I get thanked for that all the time, but also for American fans, I think it's great for people having parties and stuff, which I know a ton of people having parties across different ages, young people in the entertainment industry. There were some like all really awesome people whose work I really respect who were watching Revolution tonight, and I think that's like really awesome.
Speaking of international fans, do you have any plans to take Dynamite overseas?
Dynamite overseas is very difficult because I really like to keep the show live as much as possible, and I'd like to stay on our time slot, and taking it to say Europe would require like a start time after midnight, and I don't really want to do that. I think what's more likely is we do like a special event or a pay-per-view overseas, and I wouldn't rule that out. It could be something established, and I'm not talking about like necessarily adding. I don't want to oversaturate the pay-per-view market. I really think we've done something great with our builds in, but we can do things we've done, and we've done shows, so I wouldn't rule it out that one of our shows could be there.
Tony, we saw Colt Cabana pop up tonight. Jeff Cobb was on TV in the last couple of weeks. Can you expand upon their contractual obligations here, if there are any? Colt's
working here. Colt does a variety of things. He's already started as an announcer. Now he's going to be working as a wrestler, and he's debuted in a situation where you can kind of see, I could definitely see Colt wrestling for us on a regular basis, and he can chip in as a commentator and also as a coach. He's like a really valuable mind. So he's
is he signed here?
He is signed here.
Exclusively?
Colt, he can work. My discretion, like a lot of people who are signed here, Colt can work other places in it, but he's signed here. Jeff and I are still talking, but Jeff is not exclusively signed anywhere at this point. But I really like Jeff, and I'd love for Jeff to come back. But he did an awesome job as I expected. He was tremendous, and I really like Jeff.
Thank you. The Dark Order, how has that story evolved behind the scenes? Have you always kind of known who this exalted one may be? Are you still deciding? What are you...
Dark Order, from the beginning, the Dark Order has been, it's a huge evil corporation. And I think we've seen since there've been great vignettes that Comeback Studios and different people have contributed on, and Matt and Nick and me and Cody and so many people have weighed in ideas, and the Dark Order, and at the end of the day, what you've seen is I think it's developing into something TBD for you guys, and I know a lot more about it than you do, but what I know is that I think you're going to like where it's going, and that you're going to see the Dark Order is a real premier evil corporation, and it's one of the big evil corporation. It's not the only evil corporation, but it's like it's definitely going to be a very powerful one.
How do you feel about the teasers Matt Hardy seems to have put out there that he could be the leader?
I don't know. I can't comment on what he's doing, but
I think you
he's
can
awesome.
now.
You can-
I think it's past midnight.
It's not on the East
I think you
Coast,
can
isn't it?
now.
I think it's past midnight
Yeah,
on the
I
East
think you
Coast.
could.
I'm not going to do that, but I think,
I just asked about the tweets.
he's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm trying to.
no, he's he's great, and I can't comment on that.
After Wrestle Kingdom, Chris Jericho really pleaded for AEW and New Japan to cooperate a lot. Do you see that in the foreseeable future?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we all have definitely watched a lot of New Japan in this room. I think they're a great company, and a lot of my people have worked shows there, and I have no problem with guys as long as it's not interfering, on a regular basis with what we do on Wednesdays and with our pay-per-views. With guys working there, that's some of the flexibility we have now. Can't have it all the time, but I think it's been fine for me. It doesn't really bother me. Hasn't really been a two-way street. Like haven't seen a lot of their guys here. I don't hear from them often, but if you guys are watching this, you're welcome for all the great stuff I've done for you. And if you'd ever like to send somebody here to do work, I would treat them respectfully like you guys have treated my guys, because generally when my people have worked there, I think you've done right by them. You being New Japan.
Marty Scurll got an advanced role in Ring of Honor, and obviously he's been close with a lot of people in this company for a while. Is that anything that's even been broached? Is that something that you're open to?
I haven't really doing a lot of work with other wrestling companies. There have been situations where we've worked stuff out for people to make appearances here and there, or with our people going there, or people coming here when they we're with MLW. I worked things out with Court a couple times. I just called them and we tried to figure something out where schedules didn't conflict. But other than that, then AAA, we've done a lot of good stuff with AAA, obviously, with championships and storylines, and they've been very good and they do a nice job. But other than that, we haven't done much. But I'm not opposed to doing partnerships with people necessarily. And they've got some good stuff going on. So God bless them. And I thought Matt and Nick, they did a great job with their JR sit down, and they had a great line. That was a great line, and so God bless those guys.
Tony, thank you. I'm a producer here. Thank you for AEW, but I'm a producer on the Jam Morning Talk Show here. What would you say to our viewers that haven't watched wrestling, why they should come to AEW?
If you haven't watched wrestling before, I think give AEW a chance, because there might have been things you've heard about wrestling that we might not take it seriously, or it's really goofy, and then you come here and you watch some of the stuff that our guys do in their matches, and you're like, wow, this is really impressive. These guys are some of the most impressive athletes in the world, but there's also some really entertaining people here. And we've got some of the, like I said earlier, I think we have some of the great stars in wrestling. For me, we have some of my personal, really favorite wrestlers that I've always cherished. It's great to have people here, both on camera and frankly the announcers are here, are people I've always looked up to. I think we put on good shows and really try and take the fans seriously and respect what the fans like about the shows and give them more of the things they like. And you can't always do everything people like, because the fan favorite can't always win, because what's the fun in that? But let me tell you something, certainly we try to make sure the fans do enjoy coming to the shows, and if you come to the show, I think you'll have a good time. Most people who do seem to, and my parents are a great example, because my whole life I tried to get my family to watch wrestling, and they never really wanted to, and they've been around me by osmosis. Certainly they had a lot of chances and they just never got into it. But now that they've given it a chance and actually started to watch shows, it's funny, because for 30 years I couldn't get my mom to watch more than 2-3 minutes of consecutive wrestling, and now she knows who Marco Stunt is, and she loves the Jurassic Express and all these great wrestlers, and she it's fun for me. So I think give it a chance.
We saw Stephen Amell come out with Cody tonight during Revolution. Clearly he's been involved with Cody and the Bucks before. Are there plans for him to work with AEW now that he's done?
We've done some. We did the Knocking Point partnership on a little bit of the Bubbly, so we actually worked together.
On screen at all?
I don't know. We haven't really committed to that. I think he's a busy guy and he does a lot of work, and certainly it's we haven't talked through anything that was imminent or anything like that. But certainly it's he's a great guy, and I thanked him while he was here, because I really enjoyed working with them on a little bit of the Bubbly. That's a great partnership for us. It was very successful.
Tony, my name's Joey. I work with Ring the Bell, where we focus on women's wrestling. Since the company's inception, women's division's kind of been the most heavily criticized of all the divisions. Has there been a backstage effort to really put more focus on the women's division and improve it?
I feel this year in 2020, we've done some really good things. We've had some great matches, and I feel consistently again, especially the last 6-7 weeks, I feel it's never been in a better position. I think Nyla, match where Nyla won the championship. Really, Nyla was in a 4-way on New Year's Day that was excellent. And there was, Rio and Statlander, I thought by no fault of their own, they did some very good things, and there were some shenanigans at ringside that I blame neither of them for. And then from there on out, I thought like a lot of the women's matches this year have been absolutely excellent. I thought Nyla, her championship win, Rio, both of them put out an excellent performance. But furthermore, trying to put an emphasis on developing more interesting things for women, which is why in addition to Nyla's strong championship run and trying to develop contenders for Nyla, you've seen us putting a lot of emphasis on Britt Baker. And Britt Baker, a lot of us have tried to really work with Britt and make sure that she's had every chance to succeed with the chance we've given her. I think she's hit home runs, and so Britt's I feel done really well. In addition to Nyla, I was really glad to get Yuka back and put Yuka in a situation where Yuka Sakazaki could succeed. I think Shida is a really a top wrestler for us who could come in and be really prominent in the championship scene. And then we have other people like Big Swole who've come in, and I think Big Swole, as she gets more experience, can come in and work her way into the top 5 and also be a good contender for Nyla. Furthermore, Rio was really, I thought, a great champion for us, and I thought there were a number of Rio matches at Full Gear on our debut show in Washington D.C. We have tried, but the women have also done really well and hit some home runs for us. I thought there's been some excellent women's matches, especially in 2020.
As to piggyback off that, backstage, are there any female producers working with the female wrestlers, or is it male wrestlers working with the females?
We've had Kia, but we're one of the main producers, along with Kenny and myself and Brandy's worked on promos and things. But as far as match layout, Kia was here, but Kia's doing Glow. So Kia was one of the main producers with the women, but while they're filming Glow, Kia's not here with us because she's I think we'll see her when we get to the West Coast for sure, because she's out there filming Glow, which is great. We knew that going in. That was literally always part of the plan when Kia came in, was Kia would be coaching in here, and then she would take the time off for Glow. So we're working around it, but Kia is one of the main women coaches.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
We saw Britt Baker work, I think, Warrior Wrestling last weekend. Joey's doing an indie in Alaska soon. That's not something we really saw out of some of the original signings in the fourth quarter of last year. Did anything change in that regard to kind of open them up?
Well, we're getting a good idea of the schedule and where we're at. And Wednesdays are really the day I need people to be healthy and available. And there are definitely these huge Saturdays like today. And it was today was certainly a day no bookings around this weekend, which was, again, really, I think has been a great success. But also a lot of the wrestlers who were not booked on the show were still here and available, and we're at the C2E2, and we're here for availability and did meet and greets. And that was excellent too. So I really think that I'm not opposed to people getting reps in, staying fresh, and getting work in. And also, I'm very pro indie. I like to go to indie shows. If I'm in London on the weekend or in LA in the summer or something, I like to go, to a Rev Pro or PWG, which is not that's not those are your big league indies. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about your mom and pop shops necessarily, okay? But I really respect those places too, and I don't mind it, and I think it's helped us getting more visibility on our people, and so I support the indie scene for sure.
Tony, Blood and Guts on TNT. What's that conversation like with Warner Media? Because the connotation of the match means there's going to be a lot of blood.
I don't think we're saying that necessarily, but I'm saying that frankly, they've supported the creative and they've supported pretty much every decision, and we've worked hand in hand with them on the creative, and I've tried to check in with them when we're doing things that might be a little bit out there to make sure we're not ticking off our awesome partner, and they've been great. So no, they're very very cool about it, and I think it's going to be a huge show. The interest on it is awesome already, and it's we do edgy wrestling shows. They're really fun, and people really enjoy them. So I think it's going to be great.
Speaking of edgy, can you talk a little bit about the signing of Lance Archer and what you're hoping to see from him?
Really like Lance. Lance is a great wrestler. I've followed Lance's work for over 10 years, and I really am excited to have him here. I think he's worked with a number of people here before, and he had great references, and I've really enjoyed my conversations with him. But also, I think he has a chance to come in and be a factor here, in this year. And it's early in 2020, and we kind of put an emphasis on the 2020 records now we've been now a full 2 months into the year, and I think as we do the top fives, we put a lot of emphasis on the 2020 record. So I think Lance could still put up a great record this year, and then be a guy who could get into the top 5 and be a factor for sure. I'm definitely a fan of his work as a wrestler, and as a person, I like Lance. He's a very good guy.
Switching gears a little bit then, one of the things that AEW has kind of been heralded for is letting wrestlers play the music that they want to play.
Well, I can't always, let people, especially if you don't have the rights, because I think if people would like play like very popular like songs like from big musicians, if I could get the rights to them, but I can't like get the rights to everything we want. But I've definitely been giving some people some freedom, which has really paid off because people have come in with some great songs.
Yeah.
Darby's song is a banger. That was his. I love Darby's song. Like whenever I listen to Darby's song like in my free time. Like it's great. That's a great song.
Yeah. What I was more so kind of talking about, because I know Cody and guys like that have really talked about it in the sense of guys wrestling the matches the way that they want to wrestle them, and not being forced into doing it a certain way, such as other companies. And you look at a card like tonight where
Do you mean you didn't mean like you meant music? Like you didn't mean literal music. You meant like wrestling.
As a metaphor.
A metaphor. Oh, well, that's completely different. No, that's totally different. Yeah, like we have, we try and be like collaborative, but I don't like want to sit over everything because like why would you want to take away what makes performers so special? Like to me, like I don't know. I thought that was an incredible show, and we'll see what the fan feedback comes in like. But I saw some things I haven't seen before, and I saw matches that I'll never forget. Certainly what the Young Bucks and Kenny and Hangman did was like really, really special. What a leap the Hangman's taken this year. Talk about like seizing an opportunity like since New Year's Day, like where he's come since New Year's Day in Jacksonville. I'm really proud of him. And for him and Kenny, they've like really come such a long way since they first teamed. And if you don't remember, they actually teamed on our 3rd show, and they beat Moxley and Pac when things disintegrated between Moxley and Pac. And people forget how long like Kenny and Hangman have been together and how many great matches they've had. But certainly it's been like one of the memorable things I've really enjoyed about AEW, and I've really enjoyed like working with those guys. And like I said, everybody here has ideas, and I think it's about like finding stuff everybody like. Not necessarily consensus, but if we all think an idea is pretty good, which is generally like the stuff we've been doing, especially to like the last, couple months this year, like it's just like, gosh, like it's usually pretty great. Like if we all feel that way, and like I think it's been a good process for us, and it's really collaborative. And like I said, I really enjoy working with the guys, and I think we have a great coaching team. The EVPs provide great leadership, both like in their own matches, especially on a show like this where they're all wrestling in matches and they all have a lot to do on their own presentation. It's great to have like great support staff, coaching team, and we have awesome people backstage to work with, and luckily I'm always there for through all the matches. So I'm really, really happy with it, and I think guys are too. Like everyone tells me this is a fun place to work, and we have guys that have worked all over the world, pretty much across any company you can name with all the guys here. So we're having a lot of fun, I think, and I'm glad we're getting that reputation as like a fun place for guys to work, and where you can like lay out great matches. And why wouldn't I want you to have a great match? We have time constraints and stuff like that, and you don't want to see the same thing over and over in every match necessarily. But on the other hand, like I want all great matches. Why wouldn't you want them all to be great? So this was an awesome show, I thought, because top to bottom, I really thought everybody delivered.
2 more questions, everyone.
Yeah, I can. And by the way, if there's anybody who hasn't asked one yet, and if it feels like they got shortchanged, I'm good if there's anybody who's like really, but we're not super hard on it. What's up?
Yeah, Tony. If Hangman had the momentum now it is now back at All Out, do you think you would have been comfortable putting the title on him?
No, it's the best thing in the world for Chris Jericho for this company, and we went into the television. And Chris Jericho, we can't thank him enough for what he did for us as the champion, and John Moxley now being the champion. Like we couldn't have picked a better person, and he couldn't have stepped up any more for this company and earned the right to be the champion, John. But certainly Chris, you couldn't have asked for a better champion to carry it. So like first of all, that first and foremost, like Chris was certainly the right person to be the first champion, but also it was great for Hangman, and certainly nobody would have imagined around then that we'd be where we are here with him being one of the hottest wrestlers in the world. But he absolutely made it happen. He's delivered over and over and over again. He delivered tonight. And yeah, he's like, certainly it's taken a different direction since the beginning of the year, but I think it's an awesome direction that people are having a lot of fun with and will continue to have fun with. And he's going to keep growing as a wrestler, and he's one of the greatest young stars in the business. He's going to be here for many years to come, just like we're going to be on TNT on Wednesdays for many years to come. So I'm excited about that. Hangman for sure, and I think it all worked out for the best for sure. Anybody else who didn't get it? What we got? It just looks like there's a couple more. What do you got?
Tony, you guys just announced a couple weeks ago the toy line that came out. I know a lot of fans want to know news about possibly an AEW video game. Is there any development on that at all?
We definitely have looking at different ideas, and I think there's multiple things we can do across different platforms and different types of games. And I don't think there's just like one type of game, and I think you can serve many customers and different games that people want to play that you'll want to play individually. And frankly, like I want to find games, I want to play them all. So like I think we can find multiple things, but we haven't committed to any development yet. But we're definitely actively looking at that. Thank you for asking. And then there was you had one, and that's
just speaking of music, since music was brought up before, are there plans in the future for AEW to have maybe a music channel on Apple Music or Spotify, things like that, to have more familiarity with?
I'd like to do that. I want to build up a bigger catalog of music, and as we, we're getting another show, and as we build up a bigger roster and develop more music, I definitely would like to do that. And there's a very good chance it's something we really like to do, but I don't want to rush into it either. And that's why, I think we want to have a great catalog of themes and really build it up before we do that. And so I'd look for it in the future, but not yet. I really appreciate you guys all coming. It's great to see you guys always, and thank you. And we're doing another Scrum in Newark when we do the show there for Dynamite. So it'll be the first one I've done for Dynamite since the first show. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys there. And otherwise, hopefully I'll see you guys all in Vegas also. And I really appreciate you guys coming to these always. Thank you for making it possible for us to do these shows. Thank you.
Thank you.